tales. But not the tales you know. Yes, I know. After linking with 9, I also have the ability to see the fourth wall, so I know where the real Tails is. In the games, in the comics, maybe in between the words. But not here.
I know I'm not the real Tails, just a parallel universe isotope of him. Maybe scientifically speaking, I don't have anything that comes from me. My voice, my freedom, my legacy, my dream, they all belong to the real Tails. I'm just a character.
At least for myself, I still have my own story, my own life, and my own name. And in my story, that's what Sonic gave me.
Maybe for Sega and you behind the fourth wall, I'm just a meaningless Tails parallel universe variant, a faker. But even as a faker, I want to continue my life. Sonic together. No one can change my dream. This is the only thing I have as me. I have most of the same experiences as the Tails you know.
Including the first meeting with Sonic, and all kinds of adventures with Sonic to defeat the bad guys, and all kinds of friends we met with Sonic.
Of course, some of the details of my story may be different from the real Tails. But one key turning point is that I discovered that love that you've seen is a meme. Tails never dies when he's two-player. And I'm Tails, the Tails who has this law. When I follow Sonic, I never die.
This is a paracausal. Transcending all causality also means that it doesn't require a price to trigger. The only requirement is to have one player. In my story, that of course refers to Sonic.
If you ask me how I first discovered it, it was something that happened in the deep water of the underground temple.
We accidentally fell into an ancient trap, fell into a huge pit, and the pit was quickly filled with water after we fell in. We had no way to get up. We could only watch as the water gradually drowned us. My world is different from the game. My world follows some physics. This means that when I'm in water and don't have a shield, I can't fly with my tail.
Because water will soak through my fur and make me heavy.
And heavy fur also prevents me from swimming up. And Sonic doesn't know how to swim. So I couldn't fly to the shore to touch the drain switch. And although there were some oxygen bubbles here, they weren't infinite.
There was only one oxygen bubble left, and we still couldn't find a way to be saved.
In short, Sonic and I were drowning.
Sorry, buddy. I made the wrong decision. Looks like no one's coming to save us. But at least in this last moment, I want to give you this oxygen bubble. Tails, please? I don't want to see you die in front of me. I've thought about a lot of tragic things. Ever since I started saving the world, I've always wondered if there would be a day when one of my friends would fall. I've thought of many reasons to accept that kind of sad reality. But only you, I don't want to see you die. I don't want to see you die before me while I'm still alive. I can't think of any reason to convince myself to accept your death, because I swore to protect you forever. Well now, there's no other way. It's all because of my incompetence. I didn't protect you well. But at least let me be selfish for once, okay? I'm glad to be with you before I die, little buddy. See you on the other side.
Oh no, we're Tails. What have you done? Why did you have to make me see you die? Not this again. Don't do it like before. I can't take that anymore. Wait, Tails, what's happening? The body is glowing.
Oh, I didn't die, but why? Wait a minute. This is the drain switch for the underground pool. I have to get Sonic out. I'm not dead. I knew I wouldn't die. Sonic knew too. Of course, don't worry about how Sonic can talk to me in the water.
If you really need an explanation, I can only tell you that I can see the dialogue box.
So, you have no problem? Don't you feel pain or something?
No.
I'm fine, Sonic. Don't worry. Look, I'm alive and talking to you. This is not your hallucination.
How can I not worry? You died right in front of me. And then you came back to life like a game character.
Maybe we are game characters, but I'm really fine, okay?
I'm not so sure about that.
Did I annoy you? Sonic, I'm sorry. I really don't know why I came back to life. Is that a mistake for me to be alive for you?
What? No, I didn't mean that. I didn't say you coming back to life was a bad thing. It was a good thing, the best thing ever. You're my best friend. I don't like seeing you as a corpse at all. I'm just worried that you might have some other problems. Because you see, scientifically speaking, this is what you always say. This is not scientific.
I feel the same way. But you saw when I did the full body check on you and myself, we're fine now. Just as good as we used to be.
Okay, well, maybe you're right. Maybe I'm just worrying for nothing. What? You really didn't feel any pain? Not at all, even in the moment of death.
Nope. No at all. Strictly speaking, I don't remember. From my memory, no, after I gave you the oxygen bubble, that was a bit awkward. Who made you so stubborn?
Because I wanted you to live. Even though I knew we seemed to have no chance. But at least you could live a little longer.
After that, I blacked out for a moment, and then I was back on the shore, a safe place.
That's incredible.
Maybe I can do some more research on myself.
No way. I don't want you to die again. What if you can come back next time?
Well, I didn't say I was going to kill myself, just some basic research. Why did you bring the pillow too? I'm just doing a simple check on you. You don't need to sleep in my studio all night.
I'm still not at ease. I'm going to your house and sleep with you tonight. That way, if anything happens to you, at least I'll know right away.
What? I'm not kid anymore. This is a bit heart racing.
What heart racing? Are you feeling unwell?
No, nothing's wrong. When it's really not necessary, I can sleep by myself. Whoa.
The lights just went out for a moment.
It was a lightning strike. A lightning strike that interrupted the power for a moment.
It looks like it's going to thunderstorm. Hey, I trust you can sleep by yourself, right, little buddy?
I feel like reminiscing about my childhood now, so please sleep with me. By the way, Sonic, did you take a shower?
Of course! I washed up before I went to your studio. Sonic's speed kid.
That fast? Are you sure you wash well?
Of course. I won't dirty your bed, don't worry.
I'm not worried about you dirtying my bed. I've thought about you making it dirtier anyway.
What? What does that mean? What dirtier situation? That turned out to be very unclean in your eyes?
Nothing. Just pretend you didn't hear it.
Well, anyway, I haven't showered yet, so I'm going to take a shower first.
Even though I still have some psychological shadows about water, the water in the underground river was too dirty.
This is your home. You can take as long as you want, buddy.
Yep, see you later.
And remember, don't come in.
What? Why do you think I want to? I think you're a bit weird, Tails.
Sonic, are you still awake?
Yeah, buddy. I'll wait for you to fall asleep before I do.
Thank ya.
Actually, I want to say sorry.
For what?
That was your first kiss, right? I hope Amy won't smash me with a hammer.
You're worried about that? Come on, you saved me, little buddy. If it wasn't for you, I would have drowned in the water. It's no big deal. Actually, I'm glad you saved your first kiss for me.
That sounds embarrassing, but
So am I. After that day, I found out that I would never die. And soon I had a second practice, even a third. fourth. You know, once you start the first time, there's bound to be a second time. Well, at least I don't feel anything, do I? No matter what accidents happen, no matter what difficulties I encounter, I always come back to life, creating an advantage for Sonic with my life. Even though Sonic always worries so much and runs to sleep with me every night after this kind of thing happens, but from the result, it's totally worth it. After all, it's me who made Sonic win, or rather made him win easier. Sonic always says,
Don't take losing your life for granted, Tails. I don't know if you can come back to life next time you die. I don't want to lose you. Even if I'm too busy taking care of Egghead's robots to care about you, can you just care about yourself?
Sonic always says he hates nagging people, but it seems he's one of them too, isn't he? At least on this issue of treating me. Good thing I lied. Did you really think it would be that good? Did you really think that never dying would cost you nothing? My resurrection does not follow any laws of conservation of energy and matter. But eternal life doesn't actually mean I won't suffer. I lied to Sonic. My memory is complete. I remember everything before each death. There is a short time between when I start to die or my body suffers irreversible damage and when I come back to life. Yes, that's the time of extreme pain before death. Yes, I always come back to life.
but at the same time, I also remember all the pain. I remember the pain before each death.
But I don't want to tell Sonic. He would be very worried. Maybe from then on, he wouldn't let me venture with him anymore. And that might be fatal for him, because there's no more fox who can sacrifice himself to save the hedgehog from a deadly trap. Can't you get? Sonic, save your only Tails. Me! Because even if I'm a faker, I'm still the only Tails in my world. No one can replace me. I will not be replaced. None of you can save my Sonic. Only I can save him. It's better to die a person who can come back to life than a person who can't. Every time I'm about to go crazy but I feel like I can't go on, I tell myself, if remembering all this pain before death is the price of saving Sonic's life, then I'm willing to accept it.
Do you remember what I said before? I'm not the real Tails, because I really love Sonic, not just as a friend, but as an admirer. The only reason I can endure all this pain is because I love him. Even though I'm not the real Tails, I'm still a parallel universe Tails who really loves my Sonic. Even if Sonic doesn't love me, I'm willing to pay any price to save his life.
Unfortunately, no matter how hard I try to suppress the pain with my willpower when I'm awake, when I'm asleep, even the strongest willpower is shattered by the pain.
I'm afraid of pain just as afraid of pain as when I was a kid. I'm not afraid of death because I used to think about how to die all the time.
Death is a rest, but pain is not.
Even though I've died so many times, pain is still pain. I'm willing to accept the pain, but that doesn't mean I enjoy it. I'm not a masochist. So one time when I was sleeping, I let it slip. Not only my pain, but even my admiration.
I know this admiration is taboo, something that shouldn't be said.
That would never have a good ending. I've always believed that. Maybe my life is over. I'd take a fox and a masochist too. On the surface, he's Sonic's best friend, but in reality he has ulterior motives for him.
If it was me who knew this right away, that's what I would have thought. But at the time, I was completely unconscious and didn't realize what I had said until I cried and fell asleep again. But now I'm here, telling you the story between me and my Sonic. Am I a joke to you? If so, then so be it. I said enough. Maybe and I will tell you more about my story later. After all, I don't owe you anything. You know, in a Converse, there are countless Sonic or Tails counterparts who die every day. Some are killed by demons, some are blown up by sand missiles by the Black Worm, or 40 Nazi Marines who hunt furries. Of course, Sonic and I are not strictly furries. That's a prejudice. And I don't recommend you to search for that video. And some Sonic and Tails die just to die. Their dads don't even count as a story. Mutilate, batter, shatter. No mercy, no reason. They can never sing their songs because the score written for them is only filled with all kinds of ways to die. Firefly, it doesn't matter because they may have dozens of ways to die, but not even one could to spread their own story. They will never see the ending written for them because the concept of good and bad endings never existed. Only a story can have good and bad endings, and they may deny it vainly, or their minds breaking down, but they will eventually be left in rot. Even the remaining fear and cheers are nothing but food for the watchers. And the more miserable, innocent, and powerless they die, the more nutritious this food is. Their death is simply because their existence is to die. Why does every parallel universe need to have at least one team in hunting Sonic or Tails? This is a question I often think about. I feel sorry for them, but obviously I can't save them. Just as no one can save me. To them, I'm just another watcher who still feels sorry, but can't do anything else. Maybe one day, I won't even feel sorry anymore. So if I'm a joke to you, then so be it. I just want to play my own story well. That's all for this time's Tales Radio. Goodbye, guys.
まあ、もしかしたら、この内容を動画にするべきじゃなかったかもしれない。
It's okay. You just do what you want to do.
本当に大丈夫？でも、君に対して、すごく申し訳ない気持ちになるんだよ。君の悲惨な物語や都市伝説を利用しているみたいで。
At least I still have my own story, right? Even though it's not that beautiful. I don't mind letting the Dream Eater enjoy my story. After all, this is the form of my existence. I guess I'm better off than those unlucky tales who were forgotten after being watched a few times of their death animations.
It's kind of weird to say that about my parallel universe selves. I feel like if I keep talking, I'll fall into the argument of why do you complain when there are other parallel universe selves who are worse off than you.
By the way, I might joke to you. That was something glitched Red said at first, right?
そう。ゲームに閉じ込められて自我を持った伝説のポケモントレーナー、レッド。それで？
And am I joke to you? Nein.
ネバー。君はいつも世のテイルスだよ。心配しないで。世は一緒にいた物語を決して忘れないよ。すべての炎が死に絶え、すべての言葉が語られるその時まで。これが世のデスティニーだ。
That's enough for me.
テイルス？大丈夫？
なんでそんなこと聞くの？
ちょっと心配してるんだ。
理由は？
俺たちの記憶や経験の修正やリセットは改善型のものだ。毎回物語のリセットは完全に同じものではなく、ある事件の核心に基づいて小時空流で新しい濃度を書き込み、古い濃度を時空流から押し出して置き換える。事件の核心は変わらないから、何か言葉を多く言ったり少なく言ったりするのは普通だ。でも君は前になかった長いセリフを言った。だから世は君のことが心配なんだ。
そうなったら君も分かってるはずだ。私は君と同じで想像なしの影響を受ける。時々私が言うことは私が言いたいことじゃない。
いや、それは理由にならない。彼女が君を選んだよじゃなくて話し口にしたのは意味があるはずだ。テイルス、君自身はどう思ってるの？
私は思うことはしない。思うことは無意味だから。
ねえ、テイルス。もうお互いに苦しみを隠さないって約束したよね。
NI、あなたはどれくらいの平行宇宙で自分自身が死んでいくのを見たの？
少ないよ。
あなたは特別だから。あなたは彼女の無数の意志の一つの面だ。あなたは彼女が苦しみを耐え、愛を受け入れ、愛を与えるために作った道具だ。でもあなたは彼女だけのもの。その愛がどんなに歪んだ思っても、彼女がやってくれるのは一つの可能性だ。私は違う。誰でも簡単に私の分身を作れる。魂も必要ないし、物語も必要ない。魂も物語もないキャラクターにはもちろん可能性も必要ない。彼らは恐れるかもしれないし、叫ぶかもしれないし、泣くかもしれない。でも最後には彼らはただ死に損なったテイルスになるだけだ。無数の死に損なったテイルスの中のただ一つ、それだけだ。誰も彼らの物語を書いてくれない。誰も彼らを本当に覚えてくれない。ホックの物語で代わりになったソニックみたいに、彼にとって存在する唯一の理由は交換されたよう聞き換えられたりして、足元の泥になってプレイヤーに忘れられて、教会で自分のテイルスと一緒に孤独に死んでいくことだった。でもせめて今はもう誰も彼を忘れないだろうね。彼の物語は悲惨だったけど、彼はもう代わりにならないし、彼はもう忘れられない。彼は超時空流に自分の印を刻んだんだ。だから彼女が私を派生党に選んだ理由が知りたいのかい、エンナイちゃん。あなたは私の視界がないから、自分自身がたくさん無線無域に死んでいくのを見るのがどんなに苦しいことかわからない。彼らは恐怖に操られて、彼らは苦しみに苛まれて、そして彼らは死んだ。それから全てが彼らが生きたことがなかったみたいに、死んだのはただ単に死んだのさ。まああなたたち人間はホラー映画が好きだろう。時々死ねば価値がない。死こそが価値だ。その点は認めるよ。それにあなたたちのことはともかく、私もあのテイルスたちの物語を覚えていないんだよ。笑えるでしょ。私は彼らが死んでも物語の中で死んでほしいと思ってる。でもそれもただの思いだっけ。頭の中の考えがい何もない。私はいつも観察者だ。あのテイルスたちの運命は私の手にはないし、私には干渉する権利も能力もない。それは越権行為だ。この教会を否定するということは、誰でも私を私の物語から奪えるということ。それどころかあなたは私のそばから奪えるということ。それは私にとって災害になる。この教会はいつも客観的に存在していて、決して否定できない。でもそれでも分かっていても、たくさんの平行宇宙で自分たちのために死んでいくのを見ると、なあちゃん、あなたが私だったら少しも心が痛まないの？
わからない。だって、あなたが言ったみたいに、世は、たくさんの平行宇宙で自分自身が死んでいくのを見る機会がないんだ。世は、彼女に最も似ている胸像でもない。世と彼女は違いすぎる。でも、忘れないで、世は、世の宇宙では、テイルスというキャラクターの一水死だ。世は、世の宇宙では夢食い物だ。誰が言ったの？世は、平行宇宙で死んでいくあなたに心が痛まないって？でも、これが世界の仕組みだ。童話でも、ダーク童話でも、存在するには理由がある。あなたは受け入れられなくても、現実には何の役にも立たない。時々、あなたの最大の敵はあなた自身だ。あなたは心が痛むの？あなたは干渉したいの？あなたは、あの境界を越えたいの？でも、本当にそうしたら、あなたはできないだけじゃなくて、自分が一番嫌うおせっかいな人になってしまうことに気づくよ。あなたが、本当に、あの境界にぶつかった時、あなたは、自分が一番嫌う姿になってしまうんだ。これは、世が、あなたに心が痛まないように強制するということじゃない。同情心は、普通の反応だし、
世も心が痛む。少なくともこれはあなたの心がまだ完全に死んでいないということだろう。でも忘れないで、あなたは自分の物語を持つテイルスだ。少なくともあなたには愛する人がいて、あなたを愛してくれる人もいる。彼らの物語は始まらなかったかもしれないけど、あなたの物語はまだ終わっていない。テイルス、善良が他人を助けられなくても、自分を助けられなくても、善良はただの別称になるだけだ。善良があなたを苦しめるなら、一時的にその善良を置いて少し自分勝手になってみたらどうだ。実は彼女でさえもあの境界を越えられないんだ。世たちの無能は彼女の無能でもある。世はたまに他の平行宇宙で死んでいくテイルスに心が痛む。でも世は分かってる。この心痛は世自身の空想に過ぎないし、社会観念や道徳倫理に基づいた自然に頭を使わない偽善だ。あなたが十分に鉄石心臓だったらこんな考えはないだろう。結果としてあなたは鉄石心臓の人と何も変わらない。だからこの苦しみについて考えるのは無意味だ。尊重でも抵抗でも現実自体を変えられない。彼女でさえもあのテイルスに触れられない。彼女でさえもできないんだ。ましてや世たち二人は自分の物語さえも曖昧にしかわからない人間。ただできないだけだ。人間というのはまず自分ができないと気づいてからいろいろな言葉でこの無能を道徳や倫理みたいな生き物に美化するんだ。でも今この瞬間、一つだけ唯一の一つ、世が触れられて感じられるテイルスが世の目の前にいる。そして世は本当の善良をあなたに残しておくよ、テイルス。
ね愛ちゃん。
他の宇宙で何が起こったとしても世にとってはただの物語だ。覚えていてもいいし忘れてもいい。物語は行き着く先は全て同じだ。それを完全に忘れられるということだ。でもせめて今はあなたと一緒にいられてこんなに静かな夜を過ごせる。これが無能の世でもあなたのためにできることだ。
そうだね。結局私たちは無能な人間なんだ。でも他人に対する無能さのせいで身近な人を無視するとしたらちょっと本末転倒だね。多分これも無能に理由をつける一部分なんだけど、でももちろん愛ちゃん、あなたは私の心の中で不幸なバージョンの私よりも大切だよ。ねえ愛ちゃん、これって人助け癖を捨てて他人の運命を尊重するということかな。
まあそういう解釈も間違ってないかもね。
ありがとう愛ちゃん、気分もすっきりしたよ。
人の思考は不思議なもので時々自分自身を困らせる。それは普通のことだよ。世もそうだ。大事なのは自分をずっと罰することをやめること。もちろん何回もそんな気分になっても世の法要はいつでもあなたに開かれている。
そう考えると不思議だね。私とあなた、まるで彼女の2つの面が互いに交流しているみたいだね。
はは、だってあなたの最大の敵はよく自分自身だ。でも考えすぎないで。彼女は彼女であなたはあなたで、世はよ。彼女の思考は多少伝わってくるかもしれないけど、彼女は決して世やあなたになれない。だって世とあなたは同じ次元の人間だけど彼女は違うんだから。
だから私たち2人だけができることもあるんだよね。
またエッチなことを考えてるんでしょ。
そうかもね。